Hey everybody, so today I want to share some really good news and more importantly, what actually happens at the very end of the Portuguese residency process, because this part causes a lot of people some anxiety. I received my Portuguese residency permit 6 weeks after my AIMA meeting. 6 weeks! And I want to walk you through exactly how it unfolded, what I learned, and what you can realistically expect, because this part is rarely explained clearly. First of all, the phone call that almost didn't happen. At my AIMA appointment, I paid the extra fee to pick up my residency card in person at their office instead of having it mailed. The way that works is simple. They tell you that they're going to call you when it's ready. You don't get an email, you don't get a text, you just wait. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, I got a call. They immediately started speaking in Portuguese, and I asked, "Do you speak English?" And they said, "Sorry," and they hung up. That's it. Call over. Now, teaching point number 1 here, that's not unusual. You're dealing with a government office here in Portugal. It's not their job to speak multiple languages. It's our responsibility to navigate theirs. So don't take it personally and don't panic. Number 2, verifying the call. So instead of assuming that it was spam, I researched the phone number and I saw that it was a landline and it had a government prefix and it clearly traced back to AIMA. I was pretty sure anyway. And that gave me enough confidence to say, okay, this is probably real. This is the call. Which leads you to the next teaching point. If you get a strange call, verify before reacting. Don't ignore it, but don't blindly trust it either. Now, number 3, it's going to AIMA the very next morning. So I decided to go bright and early, right when it opened. I arrived there at 8 o'clock. So here's a tip. Don't stand in the general line. Now this part takes navigating and finesse. There's usually one person who's kind of controlling the flow of people, and everyone's trying to get their attention. It's not chaotic, but you do need to be calm and you need to be assertive. And what helped me? Google Translate. I typed, "I received a phone call that my residency card is ready to pick up." And then I just showed them my phone. I just showed the translation into Portuguese. And that was enough. She waved me in. Teaching point number 3, use translation tools confidently. You don't need to speak perfect Portuguese. You just need clear intent. Then we come to the final 5 minutes. Once inside, I checked in. I was assigned a number. I waited about 5 minutes and then my number was called. I looked up on the board. And honestly, I didn't even know if the clerk realized what a big moment this was for me. But when I walked in, she was smiling at me. And I thought, wow, this is quite different from my AIMA meeting where I turned over my documents. I don't know whether maybe she has the fun job of handing out people's residency permit cards. I don't know whether she knows that everyone's just glad to see her. But to see a smiling face at AIMA, man, made me feel really, really good. So I'm smiling ear to ear because I'm thinking I'm going to get my card. And I knew this was it. She took my passport, she took my temporary permit, she took my proof of payment, she walked away, and then she came back with my residency card. Just like that. 1 year, done. So my full timeline, just for context here, let me break this down because timelines matter and they do vary, but here was mine. December of 2024, I started with my attorney. By February, I had my VFS appointment. By April, my visa was approved. It took about 5 weeks, and it came with a preset AIMA appointment in August, which was unfortunately postponed till the end of October. But that's all right because I received my residency card within 6 weeks. My appointment was on October 31st, and by mid-December, it was done. Total time, about a year. So that brings us to the next teaching point. Everyone's timeline is different. Comparisons will drive you crazy. And that leads to another important lesson. There is logic in the system, but it's not transparency. Patience isn't optional in this process. So what comes next? Now that I have my card, a few big things open up. I can apply for my SNS number, that's the public healthcare system. Start to pay taxes properly, earning money legally, and finally being able to travel again without stress. The card's valid for 2 years, and while that might not sound long, it just gives you something incredibly valuable. Breathing room. I can live here, I can work, I can contribute, and I can stop worrying, at least for a while. Final thought is, this process tested my patience, my trust, and my ability to sit with uncertainty. But standing there and holding that card in my hand, I knew this just wasn't paperwork. It was the closing chapter of one of the most important journeys in my life, and the beginning of a new one in the place that I now call home. If you're in the middle of this process right now, hang in there, because I think you're closer than you think.